I think they should just keep raising the prices and see how much people appreciate music.
It's a badge of honor to spend 70 grand for a Knicks courtside. They beat me up if we charge 800 for Beyonce, right? So.
Okay. You know when we say rich people are out of touch? You know when we talk about CEOs being the enemy? You know when we say ethos? Statements like this. Do you think that the average person, first of all, looks at $70,000 courtside seats and is like, what a badge of honor? No, you know who affords those? Other billionaires, like really wealthy celebrities. That's who's sitting in $70,000 courtside seats. And to then be like, come on, people are paying $70,000. People are paying $70,000 for courtside seats. $800 to see your favorite artist in concert. That is a drop in the bucket.
It's we have a lot of runway left, right? So when you read about the
He's literally like, hey guys, we aren't up to charging $70,000 yet. So honestly, you're saving money. Like this is just it's too cheap. It's too cheap because we're not at 70 grand, but we could be.
Ticket price is going up. It's still, average concert price is $72. Try going to a Laker game for that, and there's 80 of them or whatever the hell. So the concert is underpriced, has been for a long time.
For you, music is a better business, though, than selling tickets.
Oh, my God. My Bourbon Pod, thank you for the 5 concert ticket is $72. That is not true. When you compare it to like the actual data, and then when you also add in all the fuck ass Ticketmaster fees, it's not $72. It's not. And also, like, why do we live in this world where $72 is an unacceptably low price for the average ticket price? Like, that's not the world I want to live in. Okay? I don't want to live, because $72 like is still a lot of money too for most people. That's a lot of money. You know, plus everything else like transportation, buying, drinks and food, getting a babysitter, like everything else that you have to do to take an evening to go see a concert, say. Parking, like there are additional costs. It can only good happen. I cannot, this is how fucking in their own world these people are, that he would say something along those lines and not think about how the Legion of Swifties are organizing as we speak. Eras Tour tickets were $570 for 2 people, and we were in the 300 section. Yeah, that's not okay. Like that is disgusting. Like there are so many people who either have to spend money they don't have to go try to appreciate music, to go try to enjoy music, or they don't go. They can't afford it because even though it's not $70,000 yet, it's really fucking expensive. Not to mention the scammy pre-sales. I'm someone who lost the Ariana Grande Ticketmaster war. I'm sorry. Like I usually am, I go to festivals more so than, which are also expensive, but like I more so go to festivals than individual concerts. But I know it's rough out here on Ticketmaster. I know it's rough. It's so insanely expensive to go to any big venue show now. It's, I can't believe this fucking asshole. I can't believe this fucking ass. It's literally giving, what could a banana cost, Michael? $10? For him to say courtside seats at 70 grand, it's a badge of honor. And the music industry is underappreciated because people aren't spending that kind of money. It's like, oh. The head of TKO said the same thing about WWE tickets. They have gone up like 500% over the last couple of years, and he thinks they're too low. Yeah, because these fuckers are greedy. They're greedy as hell. They want you to sell your body, mind, and soul to be able to afford this entertainment. As if the artists are the ones getting paid and appreciated. Yeah, I mean, really what he's saying is, I want to charge more money so that I can get even more millions in my bonus package. I considered a $150 ticket in the middle of the back section a steal because of how bad prices are. I also had to fly there and pay for a hotel. Yeah, there's a lot of extra costs. Here, let's watch this More Perfect Union just to have a reminder, this More Perfect Union video on Ticketmaster and Live Nation, just to have a reminder as to why the CEO of Live Nation Ticketmaster is saying things that are so egregious. Like, we know it's egregious. We know, even if you don't go to concert, even if you're not out here in the trenches trying to get tickets for your favorite artists, like, you know, Ticketmaster, it's synonymous with hell. It's like, oh,
people that are squeezing Tom are the ones gouging you for concert tickets priced at thousands of dollars.
Yep.
So if you can...
Just a reminder that Live Nation Ticketmaster controls like almost 3/4 of the primary ticketing and live event venues market. So this is an insane amount of this is an insane amount of control and power over the market. And essentially this isn't something where like they need permission from the consumers to raise prices. Michael Rapino, the CEO, who's insane statements we just listened to, he's basically saying like, yeah, I think we're going to raise prices. I think we're going to raise prices because they can. And that is why people have been calling for Ticketmaster to be broken up.
You can't afford to see your favorite artists, and the people putting on the shows aren't making any profits. Who is making money?
This is the type of thing that will radicalize my nieces. I literally can't wait to bring this up. Yes, this is why like understanding what's going on in pop culture and being able to apply that to people's lives and go, hey, who's your favorite artist? They'll be like, oh, Taylor Swift or Beyonce or whoever. You're like, bet you'd love to go see them live, wouldn't you? They're like, yeah, but tickets are so expensive. You're like, yeah, they are. Let me tell you why. And then you break it all down for them. And then you're like, join us, comrades.
A giant corporate monopoly, of course. The two-headed beast of Live Nation and Ticketmaster. We're going to dig into just how they not only ruin the concert-going experience, but set the template for making everything in the American economy, from food to airline travel and healthcare, shittier and more expensive for all of us.
I can go through a day where 100 people say to me, we love you, we got to figure out how to keep you here. And how can you not be making money? Every time I turn around, you're having a sold out concert. I'm like, listen, here's the thing. The big dogs are literally just gonna
love Tom.
There's a hierarchy in live music, both in the sizes of the venue.
They made a whole board game to explain this concept to people. Yeah, a board game now, though, that if someone suggests playing Monopoly, it's like yeah, can we just play something quick? Can we just have something quick and easy? I don't know if I have 4 hours.
And the popularity of the artists. At the base are the small independent venues like
no,
Tom's.
I didn't watch
That's where
the day
traditionally
drinking.
most artists cut their teeth. Then in the middle tier, you have venues like the Pabst Theater in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, owned by Gary Witt. And at the very top, you have the big dogs Tom mentioned, the arenas, mostly owned by giant corporations like Live Nation, and the artists that can fill them, your Drakes, Taylor Swifts, and Beyoncés. Today, only that top tier that charges you thousands of dollars for tickets is able to sustain itself. But it didn't
Coconut, thank you for the 5 gifted subs.
used to be this way. At one point, this top tier didn't even exist. The venues used to be a lot smaller, even for the biggest artists in the world. And the tickets were cheaper too. It's 1956. Teenagers in Miami are lining up outside the Olympus Theater all day to see Elvis Presley, the king of rock and roll. It's the hottest ticket in town, and it costs $1.50. And before you say, well, that's just inflation, we did the math, and in today's economy, that would be like seeing the biggest pop star in the world for under $20. That's because back in the 50s and 60s, musicians kind of expected to lose money on live shows.
Yeah. Okay, for the past decade, Live Nation has just been growing every single year because that is what capitalism demands. Your investors demand, your investors demand profit every single year, an increase on their returns every single year. And because of all of their fees and charging higher and higher fees on, to that, they, for the last decade, their graph has been like this.
Basically let them get away with it.
And that's really led to a very dominant monopoly power for Live Nation ever since. They control at least 60% of the top venues in the country, 80% of the primary ticket selling market.
We made a video with Cory Doctorow in 2022 that talked about this merger and the history of weakened antitrust policy that led to it. You can watch that here. But today, we're gonna dig more into Live Nation's business model. How does this giant company actually make money? They might own all of these various business lines, but they're not all equal.
At the core of this business model is its concert promotion business. It is a capital-intensive, hard-to-run business with a
My local venue got taken over by Live Nation. I was going to see Rufus just sold there until the announcement was made. That fucking sucks.
ostensibly very low margins. And Live Nation will talk a lot about how they're only earning about a 1.3, 1.7% margin on their concert promotion business, which is pretty small. The way that they are able to do that is because their concert promotion business really drives the rest of the other business lines. So it drives their ticket selling operation, where Live Nation actually gets something like a 37% margin. It runs their sponsorship and advertising business line, which elicits a 67% commission.
Also, let me just say one more thing, okay? I also used to work for a big corporation. I used to work for Sony Pictures. And yet, like, the CEO of Sony or the corporate violations by Sony is never something that I would defend just because I enjoyed my time working there. And there's nothing wrong, let me be clear. This is not a moral judgment on people who work for these major companies. I have worked for major companies, but that does not mean that as a leftist, you should blind yourself to your personal connection. And whatever your experience was working for that company is not applicable to this broader conversation around monopolies and around the issues that they then present to consumers who get squeezed out. So I get that maybe there can be some personal feelings involved when when the CEO or the company that you work for or worked for is under fire for valid reasons, but you can't let that cloud you. Someone mentioned Astroworld. Live Nation's directly culpable for the Astroworld tragedy by overselling tickets and underhiring staff to make maximum profits. Yes, and so if you don't remember what the Astroworld tragedy was, that is Astroworld, a music festival in Houston, and Travis Scott was the biggest. He was the biggest artist at Astroworld. And there was the concert was oversold. What ended up happening was there was like a crowd surge at Travis Scott's headlining show, and like something like 8 people died, hundreds were injured. It was a really, really terrible tragedy. And then, of course, when all of the investigations and reports came out, Live Nation was named as one of the parties to blame because they were, they were the major company behind Astroworld. And they also have a long history of safety violations. So it's not the first time that they had oversold and cut corners in order to make more money. And they have had hundreds of deaths and injuries linked to their events in just the last, in like the last 10, 15 years. It's frightening that Doc was rough. Yeah, it's a terrifying scenario.
Live Nation makes almost no money on concert promotion, and they make most of their money charging concertgoers like you massive service fees and getting sponsorship deals, both of which require very...
So as far as what can individuals do, I mean, it comes down to applying pressure on legislators to actually wield the power that they have here, to do what they've done before in breaking up mergers, in bringing monopolization cases against these companies to break them up, in not allowing this to keep happening. And it's one of those where like they will. Here's the thing. If they raise prices to a point that truly because people are buying these tickets even when they really can't afford them. So this isn't something where it's like, all right, well, it used to be $200 and now I'm paying $500, but that's still in line with my, with my finances. Like people they aren't able to afford these tickets even if they're buying them. But it can still get to a point that there is, if they get, like, it's already astronomically expensive, but if it gets to a point that even people who are spending beyond their means then like simply can't, there's only so much debt you can go into, can't buy the tickets, then it's basically testing out to see just how high we can raise these prices. So ultimately, this is the answer you're looking for is that this comes via legislation. This is not just this is entertainment. This is not a necessity in life. All you need is food, water, shelter. That's it, right? Maybe healthcare. I do believe that entertainment is a very important part of the human experience. In order for us to get through the hard parts of life, the monotony of work, the difficulties that are, being alive, I do consider culture and entertainment to be a necessity for like the ability to enjoy life. So I don't think that, this kind of thing is, now, am I saying like, oh, being able to go see Ariana Grande in concert 10 times is an absolute necessity? Yes, I am saying that. No, you know what I'm saying, where, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of jobs, all that as well. But I think what happens is kind of this mentality that movie theaters, Broadway, concerts, these forms of entertainment, this big part of culture, is not something that we should like be. You know, when we joke and say $1.50, that's like $5 million today. That's called joking. $1.50, as they just explained here, would be less than $20. So less than $20 to see one of the biggest superstars in the world is simply unheard of.
Because the tour was just marketing for their album. That's where the real money was. Shows were short, usually less than 30 minutes, and they were small, often too small. Tens of thousands of people came out that weekend in Miami to see the king of rock and roll, but the theater only fit about 2,000, so he ended up playing 7 shows over the course of 3 days. The Beatles figured out a way around that. In 1965, the boys from Liverpool changed live music forever with a record-breaking show at New York's Shea Stadium. 55,000 fans at a single show, screaming so loud the Beatles couldn't hear themselves play. The show grossed $300,000, or about $3 million.
No, CL30. Pointing the finger at Rapinoe is not glib. What we're talking about here are corporate monopolies. What we're talking about are when these corporations like Live Nation, Ticketmaster control the majority of the ticket market. There is no such thing as not being able to raise prices to even more absurd heights. That is capitalism. So I've literally worked for him and have been in the industry. I don't care if you're here to defend. I like, honestly, if you're here to defend Michael Rapinoe, you're probably going to want to sit this one out. If you saw the same clip that we saw, if you just watched the same clip we saw and you're like, you know what, I'm actually going to defend him because I worked for him. I am not saying there are not other issues here, but specifically what we are talking about and what this More Perfect Union video is talking about is the control over the ticketing and live event venues market that Live Nation Ticketmaster has, that has been getting worse and worse as they only grow in that monopoly power. What are you doing? Like, seriously, what are you doing?
And it stayed like this for decades. We looked up more ticket stubs from the biggest acts of the 70s and 80s. And when we adjusted the prices for inflation, we were surprised to find that every single show we looked up between 1970 and 1989 cost almost exactly the same, around $45, a price that would have also gotten you into the Beatles' iconic Shea Stadium show back in '65. But in the 1990s, everything in live music changed because of 3 groups: Ticketmaster, Live Nation, and Pearl Jam. First, there's Ticketmaster. Today, concert ticketing is mostly digital, but before the 90s, tickets used to be sold through call centers, at stores, or at box offices.
Me and my loser friends, we gotta go get Aerosmith tickets. Top priority of the summer.
There were a number of different ticketing agencies, and they made their money by charging venues a fee for handling all of the technology and logistics of selling tickets. But Ticketmaster inverted that, and instead of charging venues, they started making money by charging fans, the infamous service fee. This incentivized venues to sign exclusive contracts with Ticketmaster over other companies. Ticketmaster also gobbled up the competition, acquiring 7 other ticketing agencies between 1985 and 1991, including their main rival, Ticketron.
Tickets are selling fast. Buy yours at Navy Pier, Carson Perry Scott, and Ticketron.
So, to sum up, that era of stable concert ticket prices we talked about ended at the same time that Ticketmaster became the only ticketing service in town. Because with their rivals out of the way, there was nothing to stop Ticketmaster from raising service fees, which they did. But an unlikely hero put them in the targets of government regulation.
Yeah, also, I saw your comment about how people should stop buying these tickets at these prices. Like, what you're doing is you're putting the onus on the consumers. And my problem is that you seemingly are letting these corporations, led by these very, very wealthy CEOs, who have no problem going out publicly and saying, you know what, let's raise the prices some more. I don't think that these prices are high enough.
Regulators.
People have been screaming about the Ticketmaster monopoly since the early 90s when Pearl Jam was testifying before Congress.
At the same time the Ticketmaster was consolidating its corporate power in the 90s, there was a parallel story of anti-corporate rock bands like Nirvana and Pearl Jam emerging from roots in local underground music scenes, playing tiny 400-person rock clubs like Tom's, and then blowing up to massive fame as part of
What you're what like so voting with your dollar doesn't work. Again, you are flipping things upside down here. And really then I guess we have to apply that to everything where it's like, hey guys, stop spending money, stop buying, whatever, which if we're talking about a boycott, a targeted boycott, which is not what this is, then yes, there is a point there. But as far as a general consumer boycott versus not allowing these massive mergers like the one we've been talking about between Nexstar and Tegna and Sinclair, trying to buy up more of the local broadcast media market, and how they need the FCC to remove those caps of Skydance and Paramount merging, of Live Nation and Ticketmaster, which then form these massive monopolies, which control so much of the market that then consumers are completely fucked. Like, you're putting the onus on consumers rather than on politicians, on lawmakers, to ensure that these monopolies don't grow to this size.
the alternative rock boom.
What exactly is your real name? Is it Beck? Were you christened Beck? All right.
And once these artists got huge, they started questioning.
Also, there are plenty of people who already aren't buying tickets or, you know, whatever consumer product because it's too expensive.
Ticketmaster's exploitation of their loyal fan bases.
What do you think of artists who charge anywhere between $50 to $75 for tickets?
There are people
who charges that much money?
Who does
Apparently.
that? Madonna. How much do we charge?
Yeah, but that's like a burlesque show.
Pearl Jam was one of the most outspoken acts of the genre, and were even called upon at one point by the White House. And just as Elvis used his time with the president to talk about the most pressing issue on his mind, kicking the Beatles out of America, Pearl Jam used their time with Clinton to raise Ticketmaster's exploitation of their fans. In 1994, they filed a complaint with the Justice Department against Ticketmaster after Ticketmaster refused to cap their service fee on Pearl Jam's upcoming tour. The complaint alleged Ticketmaster's monopoly, a legal battle ensued, and the whole incident resulted in guitarist Stone Gossard and bassist Jeff Ament testifying in front of Congress.
All the members of Pearl Jam remember what it's like to be young and not have a lot of money. Many Pearl Jam fans are teenagers who do not have the money to pay $30 or more that it's often charged for tickets today.
They were treated like a joke.
Do you think Ticketmaster's entitled to a profit?
I think our main concern is, are we entitled to use a different company other than Ticketmaster?
These old congressmen and senators, their daughters wanted to get their autographs, and it was a rude, obnoxious moment.
But it goes deeper than the usual political inaction you might expect. The American Prospect reports that Ticketmaster was leveraging its ties to key government officials to swing the case in their favor. Quote, there is evidence Ticketmaster tapped its one-time attorney, Mickey Cantor, a close Clinton confidant, then working as U.S. trade representative, to keep tabs on the case. It's confirmed that Cantor had made calls on Ticketmaster's behalf in 1992, while he was general counsel of Clinton's presidential campaign. Pearl Jam tried to do the tour without Ticketmaster, but they were just too powerful. The Department of Justice closed the investigation, and the band had to go back to using Ticketmaster a few years later. Lead singer Eddie Vedder later told Spin magazine, "It was really amazing to be right up close and get absolutely stomped on by a huge corporate entity." And what did the Ticketmaster CEO at the time have to say about all of this? When you bring that up, it's irrelevant to me.
Yeah,
no one thought the ticketing was a business. I thought it was a business. I'm not ashamed of that. So that's how Ticketmaster turned ticketing into a business by inventing the service fee and ushered in the era of rapidly rising concert prices. But where does Live Nation come into all of this? Just 1 year after this.
Wait, there's no alternative to Ticketmaster? I mean, there are other ticketing companies, but Ticketmaster Live Nation has like 70% of the
Whole
market.
debacle. A radio mogul named Robert X. Sillerman founded a concert promotion company named SFX Entertainment. What is a concert promoter, you ask? Promoters do all of the work of arranging the logistics of the show. They book the artists, the venues, the vendors, they handle all of the payments, and they literally promote the show to the public.
From SFX, Got Milk presents Britney Spears Live.
Promoters make their money by splitting the face value price of the ticket sales, so not the service fees, with the artist at a pre-agreed rate. Sillerman did to the promotion industry what Ticketmaster did to ticketing: aggressive consolidation of the competition. After gobbling up a bunch of smaller concert promoters and creating what the New York Times called the concert world's first truly national force, he sold it to the broadcast monopoly Clear Channel for $4.4 billion and used the money to buy a controlling share of Graceland, the estate of Elvis Presley. You know, the guy whose tickets used to be $1.50.
It's good to be the king. Maybe we one-upped them because maybe we own the king.
I think it stinks.
Clear Channel spun it off and Live Nation was born. But ticketing and concert promotion aren't the only businesses involved in putting on a live music tour. And Live Nation started slowly making their way into other business lines.
Tesla, thank you for the tier 1. Mustina, thank you for the prime.
A venue
Warm Glow, thank you
operations
for the 2
company,
months.
and it runs.
Oh, sandwich. What are you doing in here? Aren't you supposed to be at a wedding? I didn't pay for this. I bamboozled you. I now have a monopoly on your
sponsorship and advertisements for major concert
and
tours
your
across
money.
the country.
So by the early 2000s, you basically just have
Yes,
two companies
Chuggies,
that have
permission
dominated
granted.
all of the various businesses in live music. But that wasn't enough for them. Live Nation wanted the whole industry to themselves.
Live Nation was starting its own ticket selling business to compete with Ticketmaster.
Yeah, that's right. It was a battle of titans like Batman v Superman or Godzilla x Kong. But just like in those movies, the showdown was a bit anticlimactic and turned into more of a buddy movie.
Did we just become best friends? Yup!
They abandoned those plans and in early 2009 announced that they were going to merge these two very, very large, powerful companies in the entertainment industry.
And the Obama administration
and
artists, for example, often don't have a choice but to use Ticketmaster for ticketing and Live Nation for promotion.
Let's imagine we just played a sold-out show at a venue Live Nation owns and operates. When an artist plays these venues, they're required to use Live Nation as the promoter. We have practically no leverage in negotiating them. If they want to take 10% of the revenues and call it a facility fee, they can and have. If they want to charge $30,000 for the house nut, they can and have. And if they want to charge us $250 for a stack of 10 clean towels, they can and have.
Each still infiltrates their choices, even when they're made with the best intentions for the fan experience. Here's what happened when the Radiohead side project, The Smile, played at the Pabst Theater.
That show, they were very specific about their pricing and what they wanted their pricing to be. We followed those guidelines, but the day that our tickets were announced, they were immediately available on the Ticketmaster website because Ticketmaster controls the secondary market also.
So scalpers were able to buy up tickets at the original price and immediately resell them on Ticketmaster, where Ticketmaster takes a fee, of course, for exorbitant prices.
So the people that went out and spent $350 for the tickets that were supposed to cost $55, they take that out on the artist, or they take it out on us and blame us. But in the meantime, we're all just a part of Live Nation and Ticketmaster turning the wheel of meat so they can keep increasing those margins on service fees and on secondary tickets that feed the rest of their business because, again, they use our business as a loss leader.
And because concerts are a loss leader fueling their other businesses, Live Nation doesn't even care if sold-out shows are mostly empty because half the tickets were lost to scalpers. This whole business model is notably different from the model that independent venues follow.
We produce 800 shows a year. In order for us to survive, for our 300 plus employees to survive annually.
Is the solution to this legislation, is there anything individuals can do to help stop this, or is it dependent on a law hopefully being made? I mean, yes, this is the result of failed antitrust enforcement, as all of these major monopolies are. When antitrust laws are not enforced, then this is what happens. And so what the DOJ can do is investigate into said corporations' practices, which presumably there will be evidence of conduct that is not legal, and they can bring a monopolization case, which is something that like Lena Kwan did with major companies like Amazon. Maybe I'm wrong on this, but I think she was the first to like seriously pursue a case against Amazon. Airtel's a huge company. I used to essentially monopolize the internet in India, but when local area specific ISPs showed, the government did not side with the huge companies, whereas in the case of the West, did not help them monopolize because they could profit. Hence, these local area specific ISPs took over in just a few years, and now we're paying 10% of the price for internet. That's 100 times faster. It's definitely doable. Yes. Also, monopolies have been broken up before. Mergers have been not allowed to go through. So it's not that this is it's not like this is impossible. Like there was a case brought against Microsoft in 2001 from in between the Clinton to W. Bush administrations. And what has to happen is you have people at the DOJ, you have people in Congress, and there's enough, there's enough people in these positions of authority, of power, to ensure that these corporations can't just keep growing like mold.
Every single show we do, we have to find ways to be able to generate revenue. It's quite the opposite with Live Nation.
To recap, Live Nation, the premier live music business, doesn't really care about the actual business of putting on live music as much as it cares about the business of scalping tickets and selling Dunkin' Donuts sponsorships. And they've taken away the freedom to choose for everyone in the industry.
Live Nation is really controlling the entire ecosystem of most of the concerts that people are going to in this country. Everything from the point of sale system to the staffing at the bar to what is being sold at the bar and for how much. They're dictating what tours get to come to your venue, how tickets are sold, and at what price they're sold, and what fees are attached.
Listen to this artist put it a little more bluntly.
And then it hit me, oh my gosh, they own all the venues, it's a monopoly. So then now they just want my body in this room so they can sell food and alcohol. So then they're gonna make tons of money. And then they got me like schlepping around the United States talking about, I wanna be famous.
Okay, so now let's revisit that pyramid of live music again. 10 years after the Live Nation Ticketmaster merger, the COVID pandemic shook the foundations of this hierarchy to its core.
No matter where you were in the country, rooms like this were the first to close and the last to reopen. Large corporations were able to position themselves much better coming out of the pandemic than we were as indie establishments. We have never...
And here's the other thing that I will say, okay? I am happy to forego concerts being these massive spectacles that they have become, if that means also that ticket prices can be lower. Obviously, Ticketmaster, they don't make their, they make their money through the fees. So that is one separate issue. But also, as far as like the ticket prices themselves getting more expensive for a number of reasons. One being that like the production costs of these shows have just climbed higher and higher and higher. Like I also am not shy. I'm not like turning a blind eye to what's been happening with concert productions. You go to a show now and there's like, it's insane, right? You have artists who are just putting on these massive, massive spectacles, and it's not so much about, it's not so much about the music anymore as it is about the show. So that is also something that I agree in trying to bring production and touring costs down. And obviously, like things have changed culturally. Albums don't sell like they used to. That used to be a big revenue stream. You know, having an increase in the use of dynamic pricing. Like there are other things going on here. And I think that chatter was getting very sensitive because they're like, you're ignoring these other factors that play a role in why concerts are so expensive now. I'm like, no, I'm not. I am not. But what you're doing, or whoever else, is ignoring this major issue here that we've been talking about via this More Perfect Union video. That is the issue of these corporate monopolies and how antitrust laws have not been enforced, and all these anti-competitive practices have been ongoing without any consequences. Like, we still can't ignore the capitalism issue here as it applies to these major these major corporate monopolies.
Gotten back to where we were in 2019.
The bottom has fallen out of live music, so independent venue owners and artists at the small and mid-sized levels are struggling, while Live Nation and the upper echelon of artists that Live Nation works with continue to make massive profits. But there is hope. Regulators are finally doing something serious about this. That video we made back in 2022 was part of a larger campaign from the Break Up Ticketmaster Coalition.
In October of 2022, American Economic Liberties Project, where I work, and a bunch of allies started the Break Up Ticketmaster Coalition, which has sent over 100,000 letters to the Justice Department with narratives from artists and fans and venues and independent promoters talking about the Live Nation monopoly and encouraging the Justice Department to do something about it.
And it turns out, unlike in 1994 when it was just Pearl Jam testifying, the Department of Justice decided they couldn't ignore the mass outcry of anger at these corporations
thank you for the 14
anymore.
months.
And they filed a
Deanie,
lawsuit.
thank you for the gifted.
The lawsuit calls for a breakup of Live Nation and Ticketmaster
Megan, thank you for
at a
4
minimum.
months.
And it talks about how all of these different business lines reinforce each other, and structurally something needs to happen here to allow competition to occur.
This lawsuit is historic, and it has broad implications, not just for live music. Today, the entire American economy resembles the Ticketmaster model.
Whether we're talking about the airline industry where 3 or 4 airlines control the entire industry, whether you're
Get the feeling Monopoly no longer fits their size and control. Megalopolis. Megalopolis, that's what we're calling
talking about
them.
grocery stores where really 2 companies control so much in all of your communities that, by the way, are now trying to merge. That's Kroger and Albertsons.
The more concentrated the economy gets, the more it stifles creative expression. The ability for artists to make art and to get it to the public, the ability for the public to be able to consume it.
Concerts have always been a third place, outside of work and home, for people to gather and share in a special experience that only exists at that time between the people in that room.
There's this beautiful creation that came out of this empty room. You can capture images of that moment, but the true sensation, that feeling you get in the room, it's like lightning in a bottle.
And when corporate greed destroys that magic, it drives all of us further apart from each other.
There's a tremendous...
Yeah, and look, I'm going to be so for real. This is not just a... Because, you know, there's one thing that is true in this world, and it's that ticket prices, concert ticket prices just surely don't cost enough. Surely you don't have to sell like a kidney these days and like forego a house. Not that you would have a house, but like if you dreamed of saving up for a mortgage, well, you're choosing between that and then seeing your favorite artist. But he only makes $32 million a year. Oh, it's not enough.
For you, music is a better business, though, than selling tickets for sports, I assume.
Yes, 100%. Yeah. I mean, I think music has been underappreciated. You know, I always joke, sports, it's like...
Music has been underappreciated. That's why we got to raise the prices so that people appreciate music more. Yeah, concert tickets have always been so cheap, I don't care to go. How could something good cost that little? I agree. I think... Oh, did I see about The Ticketmaster CEO? Oh, I sure did. I sure did. I literally tweeted out, does this man have a death wish? Does he know what's happening to CEOs out here?